September 25th, the new Fox Tuesday kicks off with New Girl's new season. Then welcome Ben and Kate.
Stay away from my sister before you find out what 6 years of Krav Maga feels like. Well, like year and a half plus like 4 years on and off I was traveling.
Followed by another all-new New Girl.
What am I looking at here?
Pure, unadulterated friendship.
And the Mindy Project.
Can't believe you're tattling.
Tattling is when a little girl does it, okay? When a hot woman does it, it's called whistleblowing.
The new Fox Tuesday, premieres September 25th on Fox.
You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AfterBuzz TV's Real Housewives of New York City After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Real Housewives of New York City After Show.
Hey guys, as you know, Bing is for doing, and we're here doing another AfterBuzz After Show for The Real Housewives of New York City, Season 5, Episode 17, called Don't Make Room for Daddy. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Kristen Carney, here with me, two lovely people, Molly Harper and Yerman. Go ahead and say hello.
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 We are so happy to be back this week because we got just nowhere with this Real Housewives stuff. We are just so happy to be talking about the exact same thing as last week. But honestly, I'm happy to be talking about it.
Aviva.
But I don't want to be predictable. I want to start with Sonja.
All right.
Oh, and the left curve.
She's throwing left curves because we all have our glasses on tonight, so we're very intellectual.
We are now the glasses crew for the evening.
Yeah, all of you guys listening.
We're going to up the intellectual factor on the
episode. We look way more
episode.
intelligent than we sound.
We look like we should be discussing the news, not
Yes.
Real Housewives.
Yes.
Right. For some people, this is news.
Yeah.
That's
In
it
the
is.
news today, Aviva at it again.
She is at it again.
Film at 11.
And I'm trying so hard, so desperately. I was in the car on my way up here, and I'm like, what is a natural way to just start talking about Sonja instead of Aviva? Is it uncomfortable? Is it unnatural?
No, let's talk about Sonja first.
Yeah.
Sonja deserves us to talk about her.
Yes.
She does.
She deserves our time.
Yeah. I mean, it's a hard situation, but when you're dealing with a man who is like he's basically a historical financial figure. He's
Yeah,
from JP, He's a JP Morgan.
I did not know that that's the
descendant.
Morgan we were referring to
I
until
didn't
this
know that
episode.
either.
And
Yeah.
I apologize to all the listeners and viewers because when I heard, I was like, I'm an idiot.
I feel like an idiot too. I didn't know
it's
that.
Well, you
that
should feel
Morgan?
like idiots. Yeah, it's
So
that
it's
Morgan.
JP Morgan.
Yeah,
It's
and
JP Morgan and Chase.
essentially, yes. And Sonja was chasing him for money. I actually have more news on her husband at the end of the show. We'll be doing a little special segment, and I've got some
Excellent choice.
facts about Mr. Morgan, Mr. Adams.
Who we
Morgan.
never saw. They didn't let us see his face. I don't understand. Can we not Google the guy?
Yeah, I mean, he just owns himself. No.
He
showing.
probably didn't sign an appearance release.
He didn't.
But do they
when you
need
don't,
an appearance release for an image of him when it's Googleable or Bingable?
Yeah, because remember, for example, in Aviva's apartment in Miami, how they blurred out the images of her family members. If those people haven't signed releases, you can't show their faces on TV.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially a man of that caliber. I mean, he could take down Bravo, I think.
Wow.
Yeah,
with his wallet.
Wow.
But Sonja comes in it's a reenactment. They don't have any sort of footage of him, so she comes in and kind of describes what happens at this meeting with her ex-husband that she hasn't seen since 2006, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so funny because she had her head in her hands when she came in, very drama school, very melodramatic, over the top. And I think I'm imagining her lifting her hand out of her heads. Well, she has multiple heads, as I've stated before.
Yeah.
Her head out of her hands and just being full of tears. But instead, she was like, she pulled her head up and she's like, my friends are vacationing and I can't do any of this. And she had no tears, and it was all about, at the beginning, not getting the money that she wanted and not having the lifestyle that she wanted. It didn't have to do at all, really, at the beginning with the loss of her marriage, which she has talked about to some extent.
Well, now, this is the same meeting that they were alluding to in the previous episode when she was talking to Ramona, correct? When they were having their girls' time about how she was going to get, like, her a facial, she was going to get her makeup done and her hair done.
And let me tell you, when
she was
came
going to
back
look
in,
presentable. Was that what all that preparation was going to look like? Or was that post-crying / an entire day of meetings in an office, air-conditioned, messing up your hair, and so on? Because that didn't look very come back to me hither.
I mean, I hope it was post-crying because she looked horrible.
Okay.
She looked horrendous. Yeah, I really hope that it wasn't a come hither look.
Yeah.
It was a go hither.
No wonder poor guy was like, I'll stay in the room. I'm not even going in there.
Right. I mean, she didn't look great. I'm sure it was, and I think because of the shooting, it was probably like prepping a little bit to come in and give this little spiel of what happened. So what does that mean? He didn't offer her any money? Is that what that means?
So he didn't settle.
To me, if I had to guess, it sounds like they obviously had a major prenuptial agreement. Sonja was clearly a trophy wife who aged, and trophy wives, you should never age because the men will leave you. So it looks like he probably, when they divorced, he probably gave her the house in New York and I guess the house in France. And he probably said, you can have X, Y, and Z, and like, I don't want to hear from you again.
Right.
Which rich men often do. I know somebody like that who did a deal like that. And now she's trying to go back for, she thinks she deserves more. But what's funny to me is here she is crying to her unpaid interns about, I only have one more house and it's in France and I have to put that one on the market and I might have to put this Park Avenue townhouse on the market. And it's like, they're unpaid interns and they will never see your kind of money, at least not from you as an employer.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, it's like interns.
What kind of compassion are you expecting from these people?
Right, it's like you're being consoled by interns who can't afford to eat. You can't afford to maybe buy foie gras, but they can't afford to eat.
So
she can afford to buy
help me
foie gras.
backtrack a little bit, because she also mentions the fact that she apparently had properties in Los Angeles, right? She said she had a property in Beverly Hills and also in Hollywood or something like that.
She said, before I got married, I had 2 apartments in New York and a house in Beverly Hills. Well, Hollywood. Well, there's a big difference between Beverly Hills and Hollywood.
I'm just gagging
This
over here.
information is so
Over
atrocious
Sonja,
that
no.
Kristen is gagging at just the mere talk of the
No,
fact
I thought
she has
that this
properties in Beverly Hills,
information, I thought it
Hollywood.
was so atrocious that Kristen's like choking over there and we don't
Right.
care.
No, I was just
The show
laughing.
must
Should we ask if you're okay?
Are you
okay?
That was just me laughing.
Okay,
I
good.
was just
We're
trying to
being
make
as compassionate as Sonja's
Yes,
interns
I was
right
just
now.
trying to do the whole "the show must go on" thing, but if necessary, I will perform the Heimlich procedure.
If I was choking you guys, this would be a celebratory moment. But I'm not. Unfortunately, I'm okay. I'm fine.
So she had Jesus. So she had properties. Kristen is okay, everybody. I swear to God. So she had properties, and then she marries this guy, signs a big prenuptial, obviously, because Morgan is not a dummy. He's going to make sure that his assets are protected. So we don't. So you're.
I was going to say, obviously, because it wasn't true love.
Or something. Well, she claims it was. I mean, everyone seems to think that she's still in love with him, and obviously she makes it. She alludes to the fact that she thought something might still be there, that they could approach the table as friends, aka I think he's gonna come back to me as long as he just sees me being cute. At least that's what I got from it. And then none of that happened. And so then she went from, oh, you don't want me anyways? Fine then. I'm taking your house, your money. I'm suing the entire Morgan family. Sonja, I'm going to take down one of the largest historical families in the history of the country. Let's go. You messed with the wrong Sonja with a J.
Yeah, but this is the one instance where I don't believe her. I don't believe that she
don't
could
know if
take
she's gonna
them
win.
down. No,
Oh, no way. Are you kidding?
No, I mean she could barely afford people to do her own shoot, let alone like great attorneys.
Yeah,
to
this
go
is
up
not the
against us.
Rainmaker with Matt Damon and John Voight where Matt Damon wins. In this scenario, I would think John Voight's like, who? Are you? Well, no.
Right.
All I have to say is she better be peddling those toaster onions.
Toaster onions? She better be toaster onioning her.
She better be peddling those toaster onions
Toaster bunions.
real quick because her money's drying up, it looks like.
But how good of a payoff really is what he gave her? I mean, if I were her, I would also want more of the pie. I wouldn't think that house, although regardless, Manhattan, yada, 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 it doesn't look like something that came from the Morgan family.
Well, that's what happens when you marry for money.
Right, but she should get more if you marry for money.
No,
right?
but when you
Shouldn't
marry for
sign
money,
more?
you don't. You're disposable. He can just find the next trophy
No,
wife.
I know that, but I'm saying like what she got in the
No,
prenup
because the man's
doesn't
gonna
seem
be like,
enough.
"You're lucky you got what you got."
Yeah, but why do you marry then if you don't have a great prenup? If you're marrying for money, you know what I'm saying? Wouldn't you rather know that you're going to get a huge package at the end if you have a small little wrinkly package to begin with the man? I don't know. That was,
Wrinkly
that was
Because
in referral.
wrinkly package?
Her apartments or whatever she had prior obviously was not as good as the package that he came with.
Right. So here's
I
another...
would just think she would have signed for something bigger than what she got.
Well, that's the whole thing, is that when a prenuptial isn't... I mean, I think if logic serves, then most likely somebody in Sonja's case would not have been able to dictate very many, if any, terms of prenuptial agreements at the time that they were going to get married.
Well, I
because
do
at
wanna
that point,
I-
he's the man with the assets.
That's true. I do want to say this, though, that Sonja, I've read, she was a hostess when she met him at a restaurant. However, she was a very established hostess where she was more of the public relations
lead
face
hostess?
of this very well-to-do establishment. It wasn't just like some waitress at a place,
So she may have been the
she
maitre
had a
d',
lot
for
of
example.
respect to begin
Yeah.
with going into this. Everyone saw her as a social dominator or
Okay.
something, So I think she went in with a little respect, at least, to some extent, where she wasn't just maybe she's maybe slutty, but maybe she had like a little more going for her than being just slutty then.
I don't know. I mean,
Doesn't really matter when
Yeah.
you're a trophy wife, to be honest. Like,
even if you're a maitre d' of a
doesn't matter
nice
where you come from.
restaurant
Don't
and you
ever
have...
make that accent again.
Sorry, even if you're a maitre d'
Thank
of
you.
some shishi foo club in New York and you have a couple of houses in Beverly Hills / Hollywood, then
Big difference.
I don't think it's going to bring much clout to the agreement table when it comes time for prenuptial time. But two things were really depressing there. Is one, the fact that from the point of view of a married person, it was really sad to see that Luann and her were just commiserating, and they called it like it was a great run. The fact that we've come down to thinking of marriage as like a run
I
at
call
something.
it like a great walk.
Like or a great walk, but it's sad to be like, you know what, you tried it. It was a great run, and it's time to move on. If that isn't a I don't know, a personification or manifestation of the state of marriage in this country or in the modern world as we know it, then I don't know what is, because that's a sad state of affairs for me personally to hear that people think of like marriage as like a run at something. Granted, of course, all things, including marriage, there's no guarantee. You give it your best whirl, fine, I get all that. But to think of it as a run depresses me. Second, how did she rack up this debt?
It was all from a movie that she had. Sonja Productions was going to be basically involved with a movie with Jack Nicholson. She backed out. She claimed it was because she got divorce papers from her husband, couldn't put in any more money, and then they sued her $7 million because that's what she owed them. Like damages and everything because she stopped the production of the movie, basically, essentially. So it's, I mean,
well, they could
that's
have
a big
Aviva
deal.
step in for Jack Nicholson, right?
Yes, because she
keeps
went
saying
to
you don't
Vassar
know the
and went to
truth.
law school.
Oh, you don't know the truth, or what'd she say?
No, it's because she acts like him from The Shining.
But yeah,
That's
she'd
why.
be stand-in.
She could, have Santa. But let's talk about. I totally get what you're saying with the marriage thing, but let's talk about something more important.
The portraits.
Portraits of Sonja and her husband.
Yes.
I knew you were going to say the portraits. The ugly, ugly portraits.
Oh my
Or
God.
as I like to call
They
them,
were-
the portraits of Dorian Gray.
They
because
were like, let's just say that they were
Horrible.
more like caricatures
Yeah.
of them. I mean, Sonja to me already looks like a caricature of herself.
Yeah.
Let alone now we've got this painting of her like elaborately laying out with this her dog, and
It's like they tried to
So
make it look
weird.
very like England circa 1820.
yeah, and it
just looks horrible.
New York circa like anything in like you do in like they probably did in 1995 doesn't turn out well.
She's like, we're going to go have these paintings archived. I'm like, how about stripping the canvas and just starting all over?
Strip the wallpaper. Start from there. Pull the paintings down. It's funny. These women like Ramona and Sonja, their homes are decorated like
Fuddy-duddy.
so fuddy-duddy, so frumpy.
Well,
It's
she
like
couldn't
get
even-
some designers.
Yeah,
she
her-
couldn't.
Yeah,
I mean,
get some interior
Come
design.
on.
I definitely.
Yeah, really
I
fun.
live
definitely
near,
agree
like,
with you
thousands
too.
of them.
It's definitely an old-fashioned way of designing, but it's sad that she can't even part with, like, even when she's trying to finally expunge his memory or his, like, take the final step towards letting him go, she can't let go of the painting because at the very least, the painting is worth money. So she can't like let go of it.
Well, that's why I think-
that's why you're like, why don't you just strip it? Yeah, that would make sense if you're like, fine, I'm letting him go. But
Well, she was gonna
even
donate
then,
it.
the money is an issue.
Right. I mean, it should be a little bit of an issue when you go from a lifestyle of what she had. I mean, this is the oldest American money family you can find.
Yeah.
And you know, if you go from that to just getting by on a reality show, to us that sounds like whatever, but to her that's a huge jump. It's a huge jump from a bridge.
It's like rags, riches to rags.
It's riches to rags, yeah.
Yeah.
It's Prada to nada.
Nice.
That was really good.
I like it.
It's Prada to nada. Let's talk about Luann being Miss Savior, stepping in to like have a shoulder to cry on.
I thought Luann was, in these rare moments, as boring as Luann is.
Yeah.
She's boring. She's not fun to watch. But in these rare moments, she brings a real sense of, I think, stability and sanity. When she was talking to Sonja about having gone through this and it's time to move on, it's like she's the voice of reason. And, you know, sometimes she can come across mature and like she knows what she's talking about. And that's how I felt she came across, except for one thing. When they took down the 2 paintings, Luann said, it looks very empty in this room without those 2 paintings. And it's like, that is so not what you're supposed to say right now.
Why did you should have saved that for the segment.
Like, it must feel very empty in your life, in your head right now.
I know.
Yeah.
It's like if you had just broken up with your boyfriend and you were crying and crying and crying, and I was like, yeah. He wasn't really a great boyfriend anyway. You know, something like that.
She wasn't the only one. Wasn't I want to say it's not Porker. What was the name of the woman who owns the archive?
It was Parker.
Parker. I'm sorry, Parker. Porker. Where did I get Porker, kids? Parker. Even
It's
she
close.
was the one that Luann just made a comment ancillary to that. Parker was the one that said, "Now turn," as they were trying to leave the room. "Now turn around and look." And they're just looking at empty walls. I didn't understand if that was supposed to be like, and now we see the emptiness in your life.
Well,
she should have said, now doesn't that feel freeing? And
She
don't
did
you
kind of
feel
say
like
springtime. She said like
Well,
springtime.
after Luann made that comment, like, oh my God, it looks so empty without those 2 paintings, she was like, that woman said, well, it's fresh. It opens up the room.
Okay. Really? That wallpaper didn't look like it was opening up anything. My
That
God.
wallpaper was the opposite of fresh.
First thing my wife says, like, that wallpaper has got to go.
And how about those French hens on the mantle? Did the French hens go? Yeah, why don't you leave those in France in your home there?
Statuette of Ramona and Sonja right there.
And I love how she had to name drop, like Sotheby's was, putting her house up for sale in France.
Well, it's interesting.
And I love that they even bothered. I love that they even bothered giving this Packer company a plug, as though the people sitting at home watching the show are like, oh yeah, I've been wondering where to archive my
I
Chagall.
Right.
My Klimt up there really needs to be archived. I should call
Can
the
you guys
Packers.
archive anything from Bed Bath & Beyond?
Yeah.
Because I've got like a whole bedroom.
I
got a good painting from Home Goods.
This print from Ross, this Eiffel Tower print from Ross, I should archive that.
Can I say this too? I think that Sonja was acting a little bit. Did anyone else get that sense that she's not that great of an actress? I think because this wound was from 2006, I feel like it healed a little bit. And I know this was like reopening it, but she didn't seem genuine. And I like Sonja in like a way that she's kind of silly and ridiculous, and and she's endearing to me.
Mm-hmm.
But she just seemed really fake. I don't know.
Her transition seemed a little bit pushed to me. For
Yeah.
sure. Like her transition from grieving divorcee to what do we call it? Grieving divorcee to I'm gonna get everything that you're. Jeez, I can't even talk. What is going? We're having some
Molly's
microphone.
mic is like.
My mic is really
Molly's
crooked.
microphone is crooked, ladies and gentlemen. And these two are trying to figure. Okay,
Sorry.
so are we good?
Kristen's trying to mime
I
to
don't
me
remember
what to
the-
do, and I don't know.
don't-
I was like, "What? Move my shirt? Move my shirt?" And then she's like, "No, move the mic." And I keep moving my shirt. I don't know what she wanted me to move.
The mic looks like it needs like some male enhancement drug
Okay.
or something.
No
Gross.
comment.
Anyway, what are you gonna say, your mom?
What was that? It couldn't have been that important. No, I was just saying her transition seemed a little pushed to me.
Yeah,
From-
it
from
just-
divorcee to angry person.
I disagree. I thought her pain was
dare you.
palpable. I disagree with you both. I thought her pain was palpable, and since her face is so red all the time, I just don't think any acting or blush can fake. Well, maybe mine's pretty red tonight, but I don't think blush can really fake that. I think she looks pretty raw, or maybe she just got a facelift and it hasn't healed.
Yeah. Well,
Which
speaking
is
of,
the other possibility.
Yeah.
Or she had like Botox or something done in preparation for the meeting to make sure
the
everything
scene,
was tight.
the
or
scene
whatever.
from a couple
Yeah, that's what I
episodes.
just said. A facelift.
The scenes from a couple episodes ago when she was in bed with Ramona. That's where her face looked really red. When
face
she was
has
having
been
that
red all
heart-to-heart with her
season.
friend. Yeah. Well, I do want to take a second and say thanks to everyone on iTunes for listening. We really appreciate your support. If you guys would take just 1 second. I know you've heard us say this before if you've listened, but just take 1 second and like us, or no, do that on Facebook, but take 1 second to hit 5 stars on iTunes. If you want to take a few more seconds and write an actual comment on iTunes, we would really appreciate it. We love listening or reading. We love listening to ourselves, but reading your comments. So do that and tell a friend because it really makes life worth living.
Please.
So
Please.
that's our plea. That's our plea for you today. Well,
Um,
on to more deep and important things.
Yes.
Should we talk about Aviva?
Let's do it.
We need a. I know it's getting late
to breathe
in the season, but I wish we had a theme song for like let's talk about Aviva.
Yeah, that should have been. Yeah, I guess we could have
It's
built a
come
segment
quick
on
and it's
yeah.
gone quick, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
we
Almost
weren't
like
prepared
a,
for it.
like you've done the Aviva.
Yeah.
Or something like something. We need something
Aviva,
because it's like
da-da-da-da.
learning. It's like the more you know. Aviva is like so the more you know person. Like she would be the person on the commercial being like, don't do this because this. The more you know, because she just seems to tell everyone everything, and she's very self-righteous.
She should be a missionary because she likes to go around and just spew her views
Yeah, she does.
constantly.
Well, as someone pointed out on Twitter, which I'll also talk about more in the news and gossip, but Aviva partly may have a little bit of this anger issue because her mother did pass away of alcoholism, which we'll talk about more. But someone on Twitter wanted us to point that out. So thanks
Yeah.
for, I have to get the Twitter name, but thank you for pointing that out. But she still is just full of resentment, anger, same thing. And I think essentially her and Ramona, the way she was treating Ramona would be the way Ramona should be treating Aviva at this point. Kind of like a piece of POS.
it was. I mean, you could see the hate
Just
in her
pure
eyes.
hate.
There was
There
no
was
small
hatred.
talk. There was no small talk.
No,
Isn't
I
that
mean,
really weird? Like to invite somebody and then go right into like let them sit down and here's how you suck.
and it was so film noir. Anyone? It was like, you are my problem. And it was like, dun, dun, dun.
Scary Halloween music in the background.
Yeah, it was just so melodramatic. And it's like, I mean, I just feel uncomfortable talking about it because it's like I'm beating the dead horse, Aviva, the dead horse. Like, this is my horse, Aviva, and I'm beating it.
Well, what I want to know is she keeps saying, I confided in you. She said it now like 3 or 4 times. I confided in you. What did she confide? I think she confided in something to Ramona off camera in Miami. Something that wasn't aired. Because
Yeah.
to my knowledge, I don't remember her confiding anything that newsworthy to Ramona.
When she says that, I always just think she's referring to her phobias. But it's like you confide that in everybody and every stranger you meet.
You say it when you walk in a room.
So it's not like
hey guys, I
something
made
that
it through the elevator that I'm afraid of.
Right. So I always thought that maybe there is something more. But
I always felt that way. Like there was something more that she confided in it happened in Miami.
Right. Well, they did have a lot of tension in Miami too. If you remember, Ramona was really kind of being pushy with Aviva regarding her leg and getting out of the pool or into the pool or do this, do that. You know, you're in a building that's high. And Ramona was kind of pushing Aviva, you know, and Aviva kind of kept staying back a little bit. And maybe that just like came out. Maybe it's coming out from that. I don't know if that bothered Aviva enough, but I mean, the pure hatred, it's unbelievable. It's almost like how I would react to like the people I was bullied by in high school. You know what I mean? That's like a long time ago that I have like years of resentment built up toward. You know, not Aviva who just met Ramona a few months ago.
It's weird.
It's very strange.
It's really also one thing that I don't relate well to is the fact of how committed they are to their viewpoint and not at all acknowledging that there might be another version of the story. Somebody else's point may also be equally valid. Nothing. I mean, me personally, I really do my best to try to, even in an argument, whether I want to or not, I subconsciously all of a sudden go, well, maybe there's, you know, it's just a thing that I do. I try to either put myself in the other person's shoes or my subconscious or my conscience will come up and say, well, this may be a valid point on their part, and I try to do my best to acknowledge it. And it's really unrelatable to me to see two people so committed to their point of view that they have no, not a single iota of an effort to try to see the other.
Well,
They are
Ramona
completely
couldn't see it because she was wearing sunglasses.
Right, they are completely committed to their own world, their own reality, their own lies. Nobody wants to acknowledge anything else, and it's it almost makes it it doesn't make the argument fun to watch or compelling to watch because you don't see people engaging. Honestly, that whole bit was two people yelling at each other.
Right.
And
I find
nobody
that
in the
more
restaurant,
fun.
and nobody in the restaurant, mind you, noticing. That was another thing.
Right.
What is with that? At least
They had
let
to
us
be
see.
extras.
Yeah, they had to be. It had to be planted, or they must have been told the real people, like, please don't acknowledge it. But that really looks weird when two people are literally
How awesome
calling
would
each
your
other
lunch would have been?
disgusting.
How
kidding?
awesome would your lunch been if you end up in that scene just in the background?
Just in the background.
Well, I
just
think they were
look-
definitely extras because they showed their faces.
Yeah, and you have to have releases.
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
that.
they had
releases,
releases.
yeah.
So
But then they didn't even want to tell those background people to like kind of look like they're looking at him because then it just looked weird for these two people to be
Like
like, you're
laughing and
disgusting.
having-
No, you're disgusting. And the other two people like in the background like, oh my gosh,
Hi,
just
how's
smiling
your
like,
penne?
hey, yeah, that, and just mouthing off because they don't actually say anything because
Yeah.
they're not allowed to, but they're just mouthing off like, oh my
I don't
God,
want
this
to.
is good.
I absolutely don't want to admit this, but when I did extra work when I first moved here, there was a scene where like the guy fell, and I said like to the director, who I'm not allowed to talk to at all, I was like, "Am I supposed to react?" And they said no, and I was just like, I wanted to be like, "You're a horrible director,"
because that's not natural.
because it's not natural. I'm just walking down the street and some guy falls, and I just keep going.
Well, it's LA. That
I
would
would
be more
laugh
normal.
at least. It just was. I mean, they definitely had to be extras.
Yeah.
That's not natural. But go,
I'm
yeah, go
sorry.
ahead.
Aviva, it's clear her level of narcissism is through the roof.
Through the roof.
But the other thing that's funny about it being in a public place is I was thinking like say I'm mad at you, Kristen, and I'm upset with you. Well, first of all, two things. If I have only known you for a couple months and I don't really like you in real life, I move on. I don't talk to you.
I don't invite
I
you
would
to
be like,
brunch.
hey, I know we met like 3 months ago, but can you meet me at a restaurant in like an
So I
hour?
can publicly yell at you.
So I can just tell you all the reasons why I hate you.
and really enjoy the food I'm about to pay for.
Yeah. You know, like that would never happen. And would you ever do it at a restaurant ever? I mean, ever.
No, save it for a dark alley.
Has she not spent a decent bit of money inviting people over for lunch, brunch, or something like that, and then having them walk out on them because all she does is yell at them?
They've all gone out to meals. Every time they have an argument, it's at some sort of
And
restaurant.
I'm pretty sure neither Sonja or Ramona paid their check. I'm sure, and just Aviva's like, well, it's tax deductible.
Yeah,
It's a write-off. I'll just write it off.
Yeah, Aviva's gotten the bill every time, but she deserves the bill. And I do want to talk about how she said to Ramona, Ramona said you ruined the trip, and then Aviva said, no, you ruined the trip. And it's like, it's so bizarro.
Like she was on the trip first.
Like someone in a loony bin would say that to someone. Like they're alone in their crazy hospital room, and the nurse walks in, they're like, you ruined my trip. Like that was the equivalent.
What awesome.
Of how,
Ramona just kept going, no, you ruined my trip. No, you ruined my trip.
But Aviva, you ruined the trip. Like you weren't there before. How could Ramona ruin something that you weren't there for? You
and her
walked in and you
behavior
ruined
wasn't
it.
disgusting. I mean, she can't get over the fact that she wasn't greeted with red carpet. It's just unreal.
Well, speaking of red carpet, she's going to have one rolled out when Heather wants her to walk. Like Heather asked her to walk, and I'm thinking, oh my God, you have a banner that says like, congratulations, you made her on the runway.
Yeah. It's amazing that those two.
I thought you were going to say, speaking of red carpet, someone's going to murder her and the
Yeah.
carpet's going to be red everywhere. I mean,
I should've
seriously.
said that. I know.
It's getting that bad. But I think so. You made a very funny reference to Ramona showing up in sunglasses, which is true. And to me, and Aviva implied that Ramona was wearing sunglasses because she was hungover. I think Ramona was wearing sunglasses because she was like, I so don't want to deal with this. I don't even want to look you in the eye.
Yeah, it was
which,
like
quite frankly, I would have done the same thing. I loved it.
Yeah, it was like a thing of disrespect. Like
Yeah.
I don't
Right.
deserve to give you my eyes. But it was
Exactly.
funny because if you watch back, when she walks in, it's the turnstile doors. She has no sunglasses on. She goes to go through the doors into the restaurant, and she like reaches in her bag furiously to get out her sunglasses. So you
I
knew
did
she
not
had
catch
that
that.
planned. Yeah, it was really funny because she walked in there and said, no, I'm not looking at her. She wasn't wearing them on the way in, and I really hope Aviva saw that like she put them on in the
Or
restaurant.
she was told to do that by production, and then she forgot to do it when cameras started rolling. And then she said, oh my God, I forgot to put on my glasses. They told me to put on my glasses.
I
It's
hope
like
she
a thing.
just realized it. Like, I don't want to look at Aviva now, and I'm going to put these on. And it was bright outside, so I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want to look Aviva in the eyes, especially with all that blinking that she does. It's
And the eyeliner
nerve-wracking.
wasn't helping because it was like
All over the
the
place.
thick eyeliner with a lot of blinking.
The blinking is out of control. It's like crazy blinking.
I hate to say this because sometimes people get mad when you like talk about people's looks, but I really truly feel like if you can't do it on a show like this, like when can you? Unless you're alone in your home. But Yerman's like, I want no part of this. But in the opening scene where Aviva is with George and they're in the health store, I'm not gonna even say it. If anyone listening wants to go back to your DVR and replay the opening shot of Aviva, tell me who's standing behind Aviva. Is it Aviva's face in 5 years? I'm just putting it out there. Check it out.
I gotta go back.
I mean,
I remember.
You know
old
who I'm
lady?
talking- Yes.
The old lady.
And it looked just, she had like long stringy blonde hair.
Long stringy hair.
She's
well,
short.
Aviva looked like she was the 80-year-old buying the pills.
Right. And the
And
woman was
oh
saying
my
to
God, we didn't even talk about that scene. But George, I'm so over his sexual jokes about his ED or whatever he has.
Yeah,
It's
one of the
just
drugs was
awful.
called potency wood that he mentioned.
It's just
I hope he gets hit over the head with potency wood.
He is so annoying. If I worked at that store, I'd be like, can somebody please escort him out?
Yeah, the guy working was just giving him the eyes.
He's the only
like,
thing
get out
I've got
there.
for our special segment later. It's gonna be great.
Oh, that's exciting.
God, it's
Super
like
exciting.
it's like I want to know who at Bravo thinks that George's jokes are so funny that we have to keep inviting him on the show.
Maybe he slept with one of the producers or something.
Like
God,
Andy
that would be
Cohen.
an
With Andy Cohen.
Yeah.
Gross. Andy.
What was Aviva trying to accomplish? That got
With
so
Ramona?
muddled. Yeah. What was she trying to accomplish?
She wants an apology because she can't get over it. She wants an apology
an apology for the
for
fact
not
that
greeting her with open arms and big hugs and thanking Reed.
she wants an
Reed.
apology after all this time
Yes.
for not being given a welcome party.
Yes.
Yeah, and
That
that's
is
why
her
it's so
issue.
insane. That's why it's like, wait,
It's
we have
insane.
to
Wow.
we have to restate this because it seems so absurd.
It's
You almost
absurd.
forget what she's upset about.
Right.
Well, I completely lost track of what we were still angry about.
Yeah.
All it seemed to me that was she's just on this train ride of anger, and all she wants to do is just yell at people and call them disgusting and morally reprehensible.
It's like the equivalent of saying to someone like, "Tell me a joke," and then like you're like, "Whoa," and they're like, "No, tell me a joke."
Yeah.
It's like you can't be funny with you now. It's like when she's telling Aviva for demanding an apology in this really aggressive, abrasive way. You're not going to get one. You're not going to get what you want. It's like, hey, Aviva, have you ever heard the term you get more with sugar than you do with vinegar or whatever that is? You know?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
her technique for this is just so outrageous. And I wish I could, because this is a podcast and that would make sense, to be able to say what I want to say better. But I can't articulate exactly how I feel about Aviva because it's so maddening.
I can't
stand
stand
just
her.
get it all out. It's like I want to just and I can't. It's just she's so
She
frustrating.
makes you want to just burst.
Yes.
Everybody should tweet Kristen and have her tweet what she wants to say to Aviva.
Well,
That's
she
what I
almost
think.
made Ramona burst because Ramona's talking about getting diarrhea from Aviva, and then later on she goes to say it either comes out of your mouth or you're behind, basically, which I don't necessarily get that, torn up about Aviva, but
I don't know. It's just it's.
I mean, in terms
it
of
almost
bodily
makes me, and
function.
I think Ramona's crazy. I've thought Ramona's crazy from the beginning of the season. It almost makes me kind of be on her team, which is ludicrous for me to think that I could possibly feel that way. But that's how ridiculous I feel when I watch those two go at it, when they were just yelling and Aviva doesn't. She's, I mean, as if she wants to call Ramona and Sonja white trash, then her elitism is just as unnerving to me. That concept of you need to, like you were doing it earlier, everybody, Molly has this fantastic, do Aviva saying the word disgusting again.
Disgusting.
That right there, that like punctuation
got
where
so
she
much
feels
disdain.
and elitism in there. Like I'm
Yeah.
using a very big word,
the
and
way,
that
like,
whole bit was
Hitler
like
would
metaphor,
talk.
metaphor.
Yeah.
Like really, you're spelling metaphor to this
Right.
grown.
Because
it
you're
just-
so much above us, and you've got the thing wrapped around your collar like you're Queen Elizabeth,
Right.
and you are just so elite.
It's
and
so it's
She's
like
so gross.
The thing that she said that
You're
really
right.
threw me for a loop was when she said to Ramona, when Ramona was like, I worked my way up from nothing. And she said, oh, okay. And she sat back like she was so above the whole thing and was like, yeah, play me a violin or whatever, Ramona, like play me your sad tune.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, Aviva, that's all you do is play your sad tune. No one else is allowed to play theirs.
She is
Ah.
disgusting.
So annoyed.
Oh my God, I can't stand her.
face is
She makes my
getting
blood
red.
boil.
So
I
what you
know.
guys are saying is you guys like Aviva and you'd like to
know.
hang out and
The
invite her
sad
over
thing is
for
I
brunch.
see like parts of myself in Aviva. This is like a good self-reflection. I'm like, am I that angry inside?
No.
Well, I mean,
No, I'm not that angry. That's good.
Well, whether you are or not, it's just a matter of how we all choose to express ourselves. No, I'm not saying you are. I'm saying like
Please say I am.
we all have parts of ourselves that are in these characters or in these people. And
that's why we watch them.
That's why we watch them, because somehow they are a reflection of parts of ourselves. But it's how we choose to express those parts that either unnerves or identifies with us or resonates with us.
Right.
And nothing of what these women are doing resonates with me in the least. It's sad that they just make me not their fan one by one. Like I check them off my list. It's horrible.
You know what? I just realized we haven't brought up Carol's name once. We haven't really brought up Heather's name at all. And it's like, that's a good thing for them.
That's a 50-50 thing.
But then, do you want to have attention? Do you not want to have attention? We all love Carol, but there's nothing to talk about with her except how fabulous her gold shirt was at the end. It's like
there's nothing to talk about.
Nothing.
And even at the last scene, which I know we'll get to, but the last scene where they're all at the fundraiser for abuse, Aviva, by not showing up, still made the whole thing about Aviva. Aviva manages to make it about Aviva no matter what, all the time, everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was a cowardly act to send her dad. We all know.
On the note of Carol and Heather, although I'm on their bandwagon, that's for sure. However, I did not necessarily like the fact that they would not like. Playing the mid ground is a dangerous place to play.
Yeah.
Especially with people that are so extreme. When you're dealing with people in that extreme, to kind of, I don't know what they were trying to accomplish by making George out to be, the little old guy we actually kind of like. Like I don't get it. And I don't get that. I don't know why Carol was talking to him, or I don't even understand why Carol was kind of. She was trying to play the mid ground. Like if you really don't want to be involved, you should just say I'm not involved and let Ramona go on her tirade to somebody else. That must either be a production choice, like they can't get out of hearing it, or some sort of like wishy-washiness on their part. I would love to see either Carol be like, this is ridiculous, I'm out of here, this is completely your craziness and I don't want to deal with it. And same thing with Heather. Or say something like, I don't know what you guys are being ridiculous, or just express it like you're wrong, or I don't know why you're still here. Like what the heck was that all about? They were enabling George to continue to stay in there.
I think the biggest step that Carol even took was to say, George, I don't think this is the right, and then she kind of got cut off a little bit when the guys came over to escort him out. They're being very, very, very wishy-washy,
I don't understand their loyalty to Aviva. I don't get it.
I just think no matter who it is, they want to have loyalty because they don't want to deal with conflict. I don't
know if it's a loyalty issue.
But they're loyal to her. They like her.
Is it loyalty? I just assumed it was like.
I think it's like a height thing.
They just. I don't think it's. To me, I don't get that it's loyalty. I get that it really is just them realizing that now they're in a world of crazy and they don't really want to be a part of it anymore. So they're trying to find their way through navigating this show, as well as being in these circles.
I think maybe they have some sort of loyalty to Aviva, because on the other hand, it's like, okay, you have Aviva or you have Ramona. And to them, they're probably thinking, well, who's the lesser of the two evils? And I think, obviously, Heather is going to think Aviva will be the lesser of two evils because
she's already had a beef
issues with Ramona.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think Carol's going to think Aviva's the less crazy, or the less of two evils, because Aviva almost seems more in the same, like, almost fashion world or something as Carol would be. Whereas Ramona is more like, kind of like, her style's kind of outdated. She's a little bit,
Kind of.
So I feel like Carol almost goes to Aviva because it's like it's like an age thing maybe.
Like I'd rather be walking in the room with her because she looks cooler.
Right. Then, everyone knows, Crazy Eye Ramona.
By the way, her crazy eyes have really calmed down lately. Have you guys noticed how she doesn't do the wild eyes thing as much?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You know what I was thinking too is that at the beginning of the season, I feel like we really saw them grabbing for strings for topics and ideas and things to get upset about, because they kind of forced Ramona and Luann together, and there was no animosity left over. That was kind of a forced thing from last season. Mm-hmm. And then you put, Heather and Ramona together, which obviously caused some sparks, but nothing really seemed genuine until the Aviva thing came along. And I know they've gone up to like 2 million viewers per episode, which they started out at like 1.3 million. So they did gain a lot with this Aviva thing. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I just think that this was the first kind of solid realness of the whole thing.
And you're absolutely right in the sense that it's sad that Aviva made it Why?
All about
Why?
Aviva.
Why would you send your father? The fact that she sits there and claims crip, so to speak, by saying I went to Vassar and I went to law school, and then tells me intellectually, looks me in the eye, or looks the interview camera in the eye and says, I could have mailed the check. It just didn't dawn on me. That insults my intelligence. Right. Why? Why would you send your father into that environment, into an abuse charity event?
Yeah, because Molly, I mean, is absolutely right. It would make it all about her, and
Because it would make it about her rather than
because you wanted
conversation
him. You wanted him to try to. I mean, at that point, he's like a billion years old. He can't even. He doesn't have the coordination left to put an envelope in a small little slot. He doesn't have it.
Yeah, it's like using.
He's a billion years old.
It's using a little old man for your own advantage, and then saying, "Oh, how dare you treat him like that?" When truly you, the one sending him there, was the one treating an old 80-year-old man in a bad way. Because without you...
You threw him into the fire.
Right. Without you, he wouldn't have been in the fire.
Yeah, but he's not... But I was even more insulted by the fact that that man who basically... If you set yourself up as a jester, you can't claim to be the, the vizier. You basically make a mockery of yourself by being the horny toad. There's no way you have any business walking into a room full of women and then trying to tell them why you're a caring father who wants to fight for her daughter's phobias. That in and of itself also insults. Yeah, it insults my intelligence as well, because you're a mockery of a man. You're basically an old horny toad. Don't tell me you're now choosing to be protective
like
of
a saint.
of a daughter that you've never ever up until now. He were like adversaries.
He wants camera time.
Can we just pause for 1 second?
Yeah.
I love how emotional you're getting. You're as emotional as I've been the last couple of weeks over Aviva.
Well, that George thing, really, I couldn't believe that was the case. He was like, "Why? What are you doing?
This is pulling on Yerman's heartstrings.
What are you doing, George?"
I know, but I hate to say it. I have like a thing. I do have like a thing for old men, not older men. That makes
And
it
that's
sound
what
like
he's
sexual.
preying on.
But I do. I like old men. But I'm not looking at him as like an older.
Because you are one on the inside.
I know I am. And he's not like a silver-haired fox. He's like just a silver-haired grandpa more to me. But I felt bad for him. I did feel bad for him because it's like his dignity
you have no idea.
is left in that room. And even though he's doing it to himself, it just made me feel a little bad. Although I thought it was
there was
really
no
dumb.
chance of him winning. It was Ramona's event.
Right.
It was her event. Everyone that's going to be there is going to be on her side. There was no chance of him winning.
Yeah, but see, you were saying that you felt bad for him because there was no way he was going to leave his dignity. Actually, I don't agree. If he had gone in there and tried and been like, well, he approached it horribly with the whole fact that he also walked in and said, "You wrong. You did her wrong." That wasn't the good approach. But if he'd walked in there and been like, "Aviva couldn't come. She gave me these checks. I wanted to drop them off. I'm sorry to see you two aren't getting along. I just wanted to put my 2 cents in and say, I wish you would be able to work things out."
Right.
And then been escorted out, that's dignified to me. That's
Right.
dignified. You are a man, you are the father, you tried. But the fact that he was like, "Sir, we got to escort you out." "Okay, Carol, you look fantastic." "Sir, we got to escort you out." "Carol, you look fantastic." "Sir, you got to leave." And then he decides to call, and what's with instead of white trash, it was what?
Trailer turd.
Trailer turd.
Well, he also said that he's like, I have checks for, I have thousands of dollars more than anyone else donating here. Ramona did write in her blog that she did accept the check and it was like for $500. So, I mean, whatever. Old man, even though I feel bad for you kind of. Well, I think we're kind of getting close maybe to starting a special segment.
Yes.
Is there anything else we want to say about these lovely, charming ladies?
What can we say without making ourselves shake more?
Can I just say that those clothes at the
they were horrible.
benefit looked like 1990s prom dresses?
They were Ramona all the way.
They were so Ramona. And she pronounced the name of the designer one way the first time and then a different way the second time. And I was like, you don't even know the designer's name.
Right.
Good
And then
catch.
she had a party foul and dropped her
glass.
wine glass.
And it was right as George walked in. And I was like, well, point for George.
Yeah.
And they definitely played that up and gave it airtime to like, oh wait, is Ramona? There's alcohol again involved, and she dropped her glass. Uh-oh.
Right. Well, guys, I'm just gonna take you on a little segue here to a beautiful dream I like to call a read.
All right.
Face it, we all love a good comedy. I know I do. It's human nature, for God's sake. And Fox Premiere Tuesday is stacked with them. First, Zooey Deschanel is back on the season premiere of New Girl. And boom, just like that, she's laid off and looking for work. Oh my God. Then, family is a funny thing. From the producers of New Girl. It's the new series critics are calling one of the year's best comedies, Ben and Kate. Then the season premiere of New Girl keeps on rolling with another one, an all-new episode. I know, it's crazy, sweet. Then Mindy Kaling has a brand new office. That's right, it's the series premiere of the new comedy, The Mindy Project. I am telling you, if you're looking for a night of laughs after this podcast, Fox Premiere Tuesdays got you covered beginning September 25th at 8 p.m., which is actually happening 53 minutes ago.
Yes.
So get started right now.
Yes, go back.
As soon as you're finished with
Happening
us,
now.
turn it on.
And we're sorry we can't make you laugh, but honestly, we're only as funny as the content we have to cover. And let's face it,
It's hilarious.
what's in there that it's hilarious, isn't it, Molly?
This content?
Yes.
What are you talking about?
The content.
Where are
Content
you
of the
taking
show.
us?
I went to the content of the show.
The content of the
show.
Real Housewives of New
Yes,
York?
Real Housewives of New York show.
It is hilarious.
Breathe.
Usually, but I would have to say, like, it's like I've had enough of Aviva's toxic personality. I'm ready to cut to somebody else.
Yeah, we need to do a detox.
We
do
do.
a detox of Aviva.
We
Drink a
do.
lot of blueberry juice and laxatives.
And eat goji berries.
Yeah.
Hey,
Grapefruit.
let's lighten it up and do some special segments.
Oh, thanks, Molly. do you
Because
wanna-
I need to laugh.
Molly, why don't you kick us off? I only have two.
Okay.
And as you all know, this is our special segment, What She Should Have Said.
What she should have said.
Okay, what she should have said.
Yes.
Okay, I guess I have two.
Uh-huh. This is the part where you say them.
Yeah. I'm looking at them.
It's really quiet.
So, yeah. What she should have said. Pause. Okay, so Aviva said to Ramona, why do you drink so much? And what Ramona should have said is, because it's New York and I don't have to drive. Not that funny.
No, I like
What
that.
she should have said. So, in that small little segment that we saw, Carol walked into Mario's shop to get some trophies made for her
For a ping pong tournament.
ping pong tournament. What she should have said was, you own a trophy shop?
Right. Right. And Ramona's not in it?
The look I'm always disgusted. Just
Disgusting.
Just disgusting.
Disgusting behavior
That
to
is
own a
real.
trophy.
That is
I mean,
really
really, though? Really? He owns a trophy shop? Oh. By the way, one thing about Mario, it's clear that Aviva applied that he's gay.
When?
To Ramona. She said, and you were spinning Sonja naked in the bed in St. Bart's. And what is that because your husband? Oh, well, I've heard he has problems in the bedroom.
It's like, ooh, you got me, Aviva. You just ruined my whole life.
Yeah, if I recall,
Came
Aviva, I
tumbling
think
down.
Reed and Mario hit it off.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, just one other last little thing. It's not really what she should have said, but it's more what my mom said. So I was talking with my mom, begging her to watch Real Housewives because she doesn't watch it at all. And I was like, please, Mom, you got to watch it. She's like, I can't handle it. And then I was talking about the Housewives, and I said, you've never seen grown women talk about their feelings so much. Like, have I ever said past the age of 7th grade, like, that hurt my feelings to another person ever? No. And my mom said, if I met any of them, I'd hurt all of their feelings.
Good, Mom.
Nice. What mom should have said. Yeah.
What mom
Or
should have-
mom
yeah.
did say.
What
yeah.
mom said.
It's a good
So I
song.
thought that was really
Yeah,
funny.
That's good. Good, Mom.
I had to share that.
Let's see. What do you got? I have one.
I'm going to read one. I was so fascinated with just watching the episode that I really kind of forgot the quote thing. And then kind of on the way here, I was trying to think back to the episode. So the one I kind of remembered was that when George said to Aviva at the beginning of the episode, would you like to meet whoever so-and-so, like his girlfriend? She looks like you, only black. And what he should have said is, he looks like you, only younger, because black people always look really young, all the time. And then that's the only one I'm going to say.
Wow. I've got one.
That's good.
Thanks.
I've got one from
Say
George
black
as
don't
well
crack.
because he's so much fun. He's my favorite. Psych. He goes into this thing and he says to the guy, he goes, "Can you help me, sir? I need some items for my libido." What he should have said, in my opinion, is, "Excuse me, sir, I'm like 1,000 years old, and I know my libido should be fossilized, so I just want to make sure I have no business in this place, right?" That's what he should have said.
I like that.
Wonderful, wonderful. I'm gonna
Unbelievable.
close
Good
it out
one,
with an
Yerman.
applause.
That was your best. He should have said
Thank
ever.
you, thank you. I was so angry. I was like, I need some items for my libido. Do you have deer penis root?
I love it that you said fossil.
Honestly, I need some items for my libido. That dude should have been across the counter going, "Are you serious right now? This is why I'm off camera, right?"
So funny.
His girlfriend he's dating was probably saying he doesn't need items for his libido. She's thinking I need items for my taste in
I have one
milk.
more what she should have said.
Yes.
When Sonja was talking to her interns about her house in France and her apartment, and they should have said, what she should have said was, "Can we get paid?"
Right. I love it.
What are we doing? Some news and
So
gossip?
we've got news and gossip if we got the music.
Yeah.
Music.
AfterBuzz TV News.
This just in.
So I just wanted, since we've been talking about Sonja's divorce, I just wanted to give you all a little background on who her husband is. And this is from wetpaint.com. So this is not my creation. I did not type this up. One, he's JP Morgan's great-great-grandson. So that's JP Morgan, the famous financier. That's
Financier.
How do you say that? That's humiliating.
Say it.
Just turn this podcast off right now.
Financier?
Financier.
Financier.
Yeah,
Thank you.
financier.
I'm really bad with money.
It's okay.
And how you
He's the
pronounce
money
things
guy.
that have to do with money. John is related to him on his father's side. His father was Henry Sturgis Morgan, a wealthy and successful banker. He's also the great-great-grandson of John Adams.
Sweet. So,
So-
whatever.
Yeah,
It's another
so
day
that's
in the
old
park.
school
Sure.
America. He's 33 years older than Sonja. Not that it matters, but it does. He and Sonja also met while she was working at a restaurant, like I mentioned, and she was the hostess. And the restaurant was San Pietro in Manhattan. And also, he's worth an estimated around $100 million, which actually isn't like that much. But then other sources say that he's into the billions.
Well, yeah, I mean,
So-
we're talking about one of the, the
So
Vanderbilts, the Kennedys, the Morgans. These are the oldest families in the U.S. history. They're
Right,
like
so-
they're our royalty.
Right. But he's always been stingy.
Yeah, well,
with
but
his-
who knows
with his
what
money.
they have holdings that people know or don't know about.
Of course.
Yeah.
So, like, that's not reported, but they say it could be like.
So
into the
he's
billions.
33 years older. He's 33
Older
years
than
older than Sonja.
And he's like 80-ish, which doesn't sound great for Sonja's age, actually. Wow. And then also, of course, we couldn't leave out Miss Aviva.
The blurred painting made him look a lot younger.
Well, I think that was from like the 90s.
It was the blurring, Molly.
And you can
So he's
Google.
60 something in that
If you are curious, you can Google image him, and there's a couple pictures that come up with Sonja.
I see,
And
okay.
he's old and bald. You know,
Even then.
whatever. It's worth it.
Sure.
And then also Aviva mentioning that, again, she's sorry for something that she said. So she'll be sorry, and then she's not sorry. She's sorry, she's not sorry. But basically she said to Ramona how she couldn't live without alcohol. In response to that, Aviva said, "Well, I said that in a moment of anger because Ramona had called my ex-husband fishing for info about my relationship with Reed, and she was trying to call me a liar." I don't know what Ramona was calling her a liar about. If anything, Ramona was asking what's her deal, but in no way was, I'm sure, Ramona saying, like, your ex-wife's a liar, because that wasn't an issue.
Well, the fact
it's
is,
still
Ramona and Sonja have had a relationship with Harry. They know him.
Right, so it's
So
not
of
like
course
they
they're
just
gonna call him.
Googled his phone number. They
Right.
probably had it and thought they'd give him a call because she was kooky, crazy. But she
They're
did,
probably like, no wonder you divorced her.
right. And he said, "No, I know." I'm just guessing. That wasn't official. But Aviva went on to say that she shouldn't be determining if anyone's an alcoholic. My mom died of alcoholism, and I'm very sensitive to heavy drinking. I'm the last person who should be labeling anybody. I said that in a response to her saying, "I'm not afraid of airplanes," and I shot back. And I'm sorry that I said that. However, then she goes on, I won't read the whole thing, but she goes on to then say she's not sorry and that Ramona shouldn't have treated her father that way, and there's many other ways that Ramona could have handled it, and if I had known it was just going to be all women, I wouldn't have sent him there. It's like, no, you shouldn't have sent him there at all, regardless, men, women, whatever.
And there
Don't
she
send him
goes
there.
again,
Flip-flopping.
defending everything she does.
Right.
Never accepting ownership.
Right.
Well, if she had a history with alcoholism in the family, is that the approach that she should have taken with somebody who she suspects may or may not have a problem? Wouldn't there be some sort of compassion there? Or if she has all these anger issues, wouldn't she be intelligent enough to go get herself a support group?
Yep. Well, the thing is, she's the one who's thinking she's compassionate, but
Well, one more thing about her. She's not done. If you go to Aviva's Twitter, you will see she's still angry about everything. And
Yeah.
she's been tweeting like a frenzy in the past 24
and you can
hours.
check that on our Facebook page. But really quick, anyone predictions of next week at all? You don't have to play the predictions music. Just anyone predictions?
No.
I think it's all pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, flabbergasted. Aviva will flabbergast us some more. There's the prediction.
I mean, I'm kind of excited to see the thing with Heather and Sonja because Sonja's complaining about how many pictures she's getting for free, so that should be exciting. And Heather's fake eyelashes looked really like big and loud and whatever.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see those.
Awesome.
But anyway, if you guys want to follow us on Twitter, you can follow me at Kristen Carney. That's KristenCarney.
And you can follow me, Molly Harper, at Molly Comedy. That's Molly with a Y, comedy.
And you can follow me on Twitter at Yermangur, Yermangur.
And last thing I want to say, make sure you join us next week because we should have a really, 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 really awesome big guest in the studio with us. She's going to look fabulous. We're all going to look fabulous. So make sure you tune in and tell your friends, and we will see you next week.
I always look fabulous.
Bye.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.